Drugari, ovo je samo mali uvod pred, da kažem, ovaj Blizzcon koji smo imali live na Twitchu. Samo da znate, odmah na početku, ja sam isekao totalno nebitne informacije, znači, pošto je Blizzcon trajao 4 sata, naravno nećete gledati svih 4 sata, trebali su prvo da stave da bude prvo World of Warcraft, pa onda sve ostale igrice, međutim World of Warcraft su stavili na poslednju mestu kako bi gledaoci ostali što duže na streamu Blizzcona, manje više. Znači, odmah direktno, posle ovog uvodnog dela, vi počinjete sa gledanjem najava za nove ekspanzije, 3 nove ekspanzije dolaze, 2 klasika i brdo novih stvari. Brate, ja mislim da je ovo jedan od najboljih Blizzcona koji je bio u posljednjih 7-8 godina. Dve stvari bitne, nemojte da zaboravite nikako da se joinite na mom Twitchu koji je doveo u opisu videoklipa, tu streamuje posle kačemo na YouTube, ima nas skoro 200, pomozite mi da dostignem još veći broj, sinoć nas je bilo skoro 50 na live-u na Twitchu. Ako koristite Facebook platformu, obavezno se joinite na Facebook grupu Svet Warcrafta Balkan, OUTLANDERA, valjda sam lepo rekao, i naravno nemojte da zaboravite da lajkujete video, da se subscribe-ujete ako ste prvi put ovde, a sada, šta da vam kažem, uzmite kokice, sok, kafu, čaj, bilo šta god da pijete i jedete i uživajte u videoklipu, verujte mi, tako je epski bilo sa reakcijama da je to haos. Šta da vam kažem više, uživajte. A mi se vidimo u nekom sledećem streamu i videoklipu. Ćao drugari. Vidimo brate, ide na Warmane. Ovo je originalno! Ovo je originalno!
Wow. What's up, Blizzcon?
Oh!
Oh, I'm so excited to see you all here. This is fantastic.
A mislio si, aha, izvini. Pa ne znam brate.
World of Warcraft for almost 20 years.
Če da pojačam.
You know, 2004 was a while ago, right? You know, some of us, we waited in those lines for those midnight releases and got our discs. Yeah!
Da, bravo. Ja vidim da mi nešto ovdje ne pije vodu, brate. Ili možda kao Final Fantasy, znaš oni, pošto oni imaju te uvrnete japanske kostime.
Across nearly 2 decades, players all over the world have taken part in the stories of Jaina, Sylvanas,
Dobro.
Arthas,
Dobro.
and Thrall,
Dobro.
and of course, so many others. And together we've jumped through the portal into
Pa brate, oni skoro svi mrtvi.
sailed off into Northrend, and we watched Sargeras stab the world with that sword.
Ova brava, ako nema 65 godina, ubi me.
During that time, gaming has changed, and you have changed, and so have we, particularly in the
Vi
past
ste se promenili, mislite ste se promenili. Dobro,
The
brate.
entire team across both modern and classic have embraced their communities. We are truly
Šta?
listening to your voices and taking action.
Dobro.
My friends at Blizzcon, now is the perfect time to
Evo ga!
close chapters, open new ones, and double down on why we all fell in love with World of Warcraft in the first place.
Dobro. Ajde bre, više bre, ću ti cepam ove slušalice.
With that in mind, let's get to it. As many of you know, WoW Classic was born out of the community's passion.
Dobre!
And of course, most of you know that still drives us today. Like just in August,
Da.
inspired by our community, we released Classic Hardcore.
Pa brate, dobro, i to znam.
So, in Hardcore, you only get one life. And if you die, you may laugh, you may cry, you may have to replace a keyboard.
Dobro.
But you go
Dobro.
again. We've loved watching you take on the challenge. or
Bravo,
die
Diamond.
trying. And because the hardcore community has asked, the team is planning to add a new way to play hardcore early
Opa.
next year.
Dobro.
And last month in Wrath Classic, we released the Fall of the Lich King patch.
Dobro. I to znamo.
And while there's still more to come in Wrath, earlier this year, we looked at your feedback to think about where are we gonna go next.
To!
We read through a lot, and I mean a lot of your feedback on social media forums, and we sent out surveys to our players. And here at Blizzcon, we're happy to announce
Šta?
Cataclysm.
Dobre, to je to! To je to.
And it's coming with hashtag changes based on your feedback, just like you'd expect from Classic. So now, let's jump into the Wayback Machine and get a reminder of all things Cataclysm.
Jebote! O, brate. Ujebote. U pičku materiju, jedna dobra vest. A provalite, brate, čije klipove koriste od onog lika što je pravio po YouTube, one random klipove za World of Warcraft, čoveče. Znači, brate, od silnog razočarenja ne mogu toliko da se obradujem. Idemo, to nam daj. Pandarija buraz verima, kakva pandarija? Neće još, od kataklizme je sranje, sve kao i kataklizme, tad je tamo da postao povadin. Brate! Kažite mi, kakve su reakcije sad kad ste čuli da će da dođe kataklizma na Klasika, a? Ajde da vas čujem! Šta je fora s Klasikom? Ne mislim da vrti sve ponovo do Shadowlandsa. Pa neće. Ići će do neke, mislim da će ići do Mr. Pandarije, preko toga više neće da ide. The Twilight. Hour of Twilight. Bravo.
So that its true lords may return.
O, brate, suza mi pošla. Ujebote.
This is my world.
Brale. Ko nije bio, brate, na vami propustio trenutak, brate, on je. Boga mi! Čeka, a kad će kataklizma sad? Pa, rekli su, prvo pogledajte trailer pa ćemo da krenemo da pričamo. Wargame Mage će da pikate, da se pika, boga mi, ja ću da pikam Warriora. Ili Death Knighta, nešto to je dobro. A koliko sati provedenih, koliko sati provedenih i sad opet. Bravo je! Ja sam kataklizmu najviše igrao. Što bi rekao Novak Đoković kad pobedi. To je to. Isto i meni.
Get ready, my friends, because I love the passion, by the way. Get ready, my friends, because the road to Deathwing's destruction is coming in the first half of next year.
Dobro, sljedeća godina. A kad?
All right. Now, over the past 4 years of Classic, we've watched you master the vanilla experience. And we've
Master?
It. So much, in fact, that we thought we'd add some
vanilla
new
experience,
flavor with a seasonal note.
Ma da, prvo polovina, da. Samo kad?
Season of Discovery is vanilla WoW with a spicy twist.
Woo!
You're going to discover new secrets as you scour the world and find class-altering abilities. Have you ever wondered what it might be like to be a tanking warlock? Or take on the role of a mage healer?
Mage healer?
In Season of Discovery, you can. The season is going to launch with an initial level cap of 25. And when you hit that max level, you'll be met with the brand new level 25 endgame. You'll discover a brand new 10-player Black Fathom Deeps raid with new and reimagined bosses, mechanics, and of course, rewards. Then, after a couple of months, we'll raise the level cap a bit. You'll find even more endgame content, and so it will go. If you're here at Blizzcon, you can play the Black Fathom Deeps raid in the Warcraft Hall.
Opa bato. Možda ga igraju tamo koji su na Blizzconu. Ja to pričam. Ja sve pričam da kradu sa privatnih servera, brate. Sve. Oni su im beli miševi za testiranje.
If you love Classic or just a little intrigued about what exactly a Warlock tank can do, go check it out. For all of you watching online, don't worry. You won't have to wait long to play. Because we want you to discover all of the secrets together, there will be no public testing. WoW Classic Season of Discovery launches in a few short weeks on November 30th.
Ujebote. Lele, sine.
For more information on the Season of Discovery and Cataclysm, don't miss the Classic panel this afternoon. All right, now it's time to talk to my dragon riders in modern WoW.
Idemo šta će bude sad.
Our team remains committed to giving you meaningful game updates about every 8 weeks with more content sprinkled in between. We really want Azeroth to feel alive and the home you want to come back to no matter how you play. Our next major update, Guardians of the Dream,
On izlazi za par dana. Mislim da izlazi 10. 12. tako nešto.
I want to give a shout out to my elves. It is finally our time.
Opet ova, što predstavljaju sve ovo jebote?
Season 3 will start with the last raid of the expansion, Amirdrasil, the Dream's Hope.
Kako poslednji raid
There we will
jebote?
have our final showdown with Farak and defend our new world tree. But fear not, that's not the end of our time in the Dragon Isles. There's a lot more to come in Dragonflight that will serve as both the epilogue of this story and the bridge to our next one. Like I said earlier, we are evolving. We are changing our approach to this big, beautiful game and how we look ahead to new chapters.
Dobro.
BlizzCon, it's time for a new adventure. One that has grown from the very seeds of what captured our hearts when we first set foot in Azeroth. For veteran players, the last 20 years have led us to this. And for those who have yet to join us, now is the time. And who better to talk about the first step in this journey?
Chris Metz. Da.
Than someone who carved the path in the first place. Everyone, please welcome my friend and the executive creative director of the Warcraft universe, Chris Metzen.
Pozdravite Chris Metz. Ovo stvarno zaslužuje, znači čovjek je dušu dao za ovu igricu. Brate, što volim da vidim jednu ovako staru glavu ponovo da se vraćam. To sine, brate moj.
What up, Blizzcon?
Sine.
Holy smokes! Horde, where you at?
O, sine, Loktarogar, to je bre ona stara energija u Warcraftu, to je bre ono što treba da ima u Warcraftu, bre.
Blizzcon, as one!
Brate, koliko diže atmosferu.
Holy smokes, thank you. Thank you. It is, thank you guys. It has been a long, strange trip to get back to this spot. I tell you
This
that.
stage here, treba si da kažeš, ja da te naučim.
It has been interesting this past year being back under the hood of World of Warcraft.
Da.
It has reminded me of a few things. One, I love Warcraft.
Svi mi volimo Warcraft, brate.
Number two, you know what? I really missed this work. And number 3, on the real, it feels amazing to be back and part of this Blizzard family again. As Holly said a bit ago, next year is the 20th anniversary of World of Warcraft. I can't even believe it. Whatever. How many of y'all have been playing from the beginning? I love you, Crazy. So given that, what was that? Doesn't matter. We started thinking, so what next? Right?
Čovjek kad nema tremu, pa
What
priča cepa.
expansion hook?
Opa!
What single storyline could possibly match
Ajde, Tevra, ajde,
such a
ajde.
historic occasion? We started thinking about, well, I did, the good old days, right?
Dobro.
And some of those early mythic ideas that kind of established the background
Origin.
of Warcraft. Started thinking about even some of the newer ideas that have played out more recently, but still in a way feel a little unresolved. And in the mix of all that stuff, in the mix of all those ideas, particular things like, what the hell has Magni actually been babbling about all these years? Was the thing that he came to warn us
Ovo
about
zajebava
in Battle
prethodnog
for
dizajnera jer nije znao
did
da
it
završi priču.
actually play out? Or is there potentially something darker?
Kratko, vrati se na Origin, BF-a i tera dalje.
I don't know. Will there eventually be an apocalyptic confrontation between the forces
Opa.
of the light and the
Opa.
void? Talk to me, Blizzcon. I'll tell you what, for nothing, my pally Maine, I'm all in on that kind of thing. If it happens.
Au, man.
And really the big question for all the marbles, what have the Titans actually been doing since the dawn of civilization?
Jebote.
What is the real purpose of all of their cute little installations slammed into the side of the planet?
Dobra
Do
priča.
we know everything we need to know about their real intentions for our world? Just saying.
Just say.
BlizzCon. All of these hooks. And 100 more. 68. Carry the 2. A bunch more. All cooking in the pot. Started to reveal a storyline. Something epic. How epic? Real epic. A storyline that in almost every way feels like the culmination of the
Kako nas,
first
brate, zezna i
20
drži.
years of our storytelling. A storyline provided we do our jobs, we do the thing that will vector us into the next 20 years of adventure.
On to sam upravo rekao, brate, da će još 20 godina da rade na Warcraftu.
Are you with me, Blizzcon?
Ha!
We call this storyline the World Soul Saga.
Jebote! World of Warcraft, World Soul Saga!
The World Soul Saga is so epic, as we covered. It cannot be contained within any single expansion. It is built to play out over multiple expansions over the next few years.
World of Warcraft 2. Dobre, sine, bre!
Having said that, we are working on multiple ways to deliver this adventure to you a little faster than you're used to.
Sine.
We're not going to get into it at this BlizzCon, forgive me.
Da, okej.
But keep your ears peeled.
Okay.
I assure you, we are moving with purpose.
Yeah,
And the last thing we really want is for y'all to have your grandkids controlling your mouse and your keyboard trying to wrap this thing up. So,
Koji si ludak, brate.
it's coming. Also, given the scale of this monster, we have decided to change it up today. Here we go. Dun, 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 dun.
Ta. Ratata.
Instead of just debuting your next expansion all on its lonesome, we have decided to give you a glimpse at your next 3 expansion sets.
Ujebote, najava za naredni 3 ekspanzije 6 godine World of Warcrafta. Ja ne mogu da podnesem ovo.
Does this meet with your approval, BlizzCon?
Jebote.
My friends, I'm gonna warn you, there may be mild spoilers ahead. Actually, I'm just kidding. They ain't mild. Buckle up.
Buckle up.
Are you ready, BlizzCon?
We're ready!
The first part of the World Soul Saga and your 10th expansion is called World of Warcraft: The War Within.
Debra!
In this chapter, you will be
Jebote.
descending into the heart of Azeroth itself, exploring new subterranean kingdoms and engaging with ancient cultures like the Earthen and the terrifying Nerubians of Azj-Kahet.
Lele, Ankiraž, brate. War Within.
But as the forces of darkness close in
Brate,
around our precious
ovom čoveku treba dati Nobelovu nagradu.
you, yeah, that's you, will be called to do what you always do, which is dispense indiscriminate justice upon all those who got it coming. Talk to me, BlizzCon! The second part of the World Soul Saga is called World of Warcraft Midnight.
Midnight, brate. Znate, šuškavo se zove Midnight. Kad su bile curanje informacija pre nekih 2-3 godine.
You will be returning
World of Warcraft,
To the
War
old
Within,
world.
World of Warcraft Midnight. Jebote.
to the fabled lands of Quel'Thalas.
Kjeltalas.
There, the forces of the Void have invaded Azeroth.
Da, tačno Vojdi. To su morali da
on
objave.
snuffing out the light of the Sunwell and plunging the world into darkness and fear. You
Jebote.
will not only help reunify the scattered elven tribes of Azeroth, but you will make your stand with the forces of the light and banish the shadow forever.
Šta radi Microsoft i para sunce ti jebem.
Of course, BlizzCon, it is Azeroth. Things may not go to plan. Things may just spiral wildly out of control, leading us to the third part
Ne,
of the World
neće to
Soul
da
Saga.
kaže, brate. Artas.
World of Warcraft, the last Titan.
To bre, sine! Ne mogu više. Čekaj.
In this chapter, you will again be returning to the old world, this time to the wintry lands of Northrend.
Norten, brate.
And there, at Ulduar, you will bear witness to the return of the Titans to Azeroth.
Bote.
And there, you will uncover a vast conspiracy. One that stretches throughout the history of the world. One that will challenge everything you think you know about the Titans, their intentions, and the true nature of Azeroth itself. In time, my friend, in time. And it's called Silithus. There you go.
Šta sam rekao? Pa imam bre dar za ovu igricu bre.
Blizzcon, my hope, our dear hope, is that you can see when it comes to WoW storytelling. We ain't screwing around.
Le, ovo obećanje, brate. Poklanjam
We
ti
are
se.
playing for all the marbles. We are working to establish a thundering heartbeat for this franchise.
Jebote.
Now.
Znači, obećava da neće da naprave sranje.
Now, Blizzcon. Hearken to me. Always wanted to say that.
Da.
Thank you. Whether you are a current player, and I'm going to bet that most of you are, or maybe you jumped off the WoW train a few expansions ago, now is the time to come home.
Opa. Da.
Now is the time to pull on your boots, pick up your broadsword or your favorite glowy staff, and get in this fight.
Jebote.
Friends, Azeroth needs her defenders now more than ever. Now, in a few moments, we are going to give you a deeper look at the war within. But before we do that, I want to leave you with a little something to chew on. I want to remind you all that sometimes very epic things can begin with small, heartfelt moments. What you're about to see is one of those moments. And with that, BlizzCon, proud defenders of Azeroth! Let the
Kakav
World Soul
Blizzcon.
Saga begin!
Živi, brate. Pijem čaj od majčine dušice, brate. Šta? Glumac?
You're here to tell me we don't get to hide. Is that it?
You needed time. We stayed away. But time by itself heals nothing.
You didn't just come here for me. It's the visions. You've seen them.
I suspect many have lately. Something, someone, is calling out from the heart of the world. Like a voice from a dream. Something dark is coming, Anduin. The world needs your light again. My son.
I am not that person anymore. I have no light. Not after what I've seen. Not after what I've done.
You are not your past, Anduin. I trust you.
Hear me.
Ko?
They're getting worse. Look, whatever's coming, I'll stand with you. Of course I will. But we were drawn here by the voice. Who is it, Thrall? Who's calling out to us?
I'm not sure yet. But that sword was aimed at someone.
Znam. Slušaj ovo. Ovaj sword je u Titana uboden. A Azeroth je nepokrenuti Titan i zato su oni to što jesu. Da. Jer, treba smanjim ovo. Ne znam, mislim, definitivno svi znate da je Azeroth neprobuđeni Titan koji ima da je najmoćniji Titan od svih Titana. A ovaj sword je ostao od Oagena zabođen i povređen je Titan. I to je neki ženski Titan.
It feels like a new beginning, and it feels like coming home. And we are so excited about where we are going. And now that you've seen or heard the overview for the World So Saga, let's talk about the war within. As we all gather and explore beneath the surface, we'll find an ancient Nerubian civilization. They will be led by someone we were first introduced to in Legion, Xal'atath, a harbinger of the Void. The Void brings destruction and darkness that threatens all light in our world. The last time we saw Xal'atath, she promised we would meet again. And it turns out she was right. And while Anduin, Thrall, and others share the same visions emanating from the heart of the world, some are seeing something quite different.
My visions are not the same as the others. No radiance, no song. Just the shadow taunting me from below.
You. Dirt.
The fate of our world rests
Znači, ovo je
upon
Sivanina
the
rođena
edge
sestra, da znate.
of a knife. And our battle lies deep within.
Jebote.
In the war within, alongside beautiful, unique underground zones, we will have challenging dungeons and raids and some new features too that are built to last.
You.
If you like exploring on your own with a couple of friends or family, we have delves. These are a variety of bite-sized experiences for 1 to 5 players that will offer endgame rewards. You may also find in your delve a familiar character who'd be willing to fight alongside you. And if you're like me and you have an obsession with alts, we have warbands. With this feature, you could treat all of your characters like family and share banks, reputations, transmog.
Hvala ti. Jo, hvala vam. Jo, Bože, ne mogu da verujem. Jo, Bože, hvala Bogu. Je. Jebote.
We're also introducing a new layer of customization for your class specs with hero talents. You might want to take your character down the path of a Dark Ranger, let's say, or a Farseer, and more.
Jebote.
Also, during your travels underground, you will meet the Earthen Dwarves, and you'll be able to unlock
Da,
them
Earthen
as our
Dwarves,
new
da.
allied race.
Brate, suze će mi krenu, majke.
I mean, who doesn't love a dwarf? The
Ko,
facial
brate?
hair options are spectacular. There's so much more to talk about, so please join the What Next panel that's coming up right after the opening ceremony right here. What I can tell you, though, is that the call to get into the fight to save our world will ring out when the War Within releases next year.
Jebote! Kako? Kraj godine? Pa da, tako sam i rekao, da, u novembru sledeće godine. Da.
I sincerely want to say, we are so excited to begin this new journey with you. And from our hearts to yours, thank you for bringing our world to life.
Aha. Čekaj sad. Da vam nije bilo Microsofta, ne bi bilo ništa od ovoga, samo ću to da im kažem. Ništa.
So note of thanks, Mike Ibarra.
Thank you to all the teams who presented today. There really is so much to look forward over the next 2 days. And this is only the beginning. I can't wait to walk the halls of all of Anaheim with all of you.
Led by some of Blizzard's amazing creators, artists, and designers. So, to kick it all off, here's our first presentation, World of Warcraft, What's Next?
Da će da vidimo.
Years have passed since the mortal races gathered together in Anaheim, California. And now, the drums of Blizzcon thunder once again. Let me hear the thunder!
Thunder, 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 thunder.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for being here with us today. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the World of Warcraft What's Next panel. My name is Taryn Gregory, and as maybe you may have heard, As you may have heard from Chris during the opening ceremonies, we are at the dawn of a new era of Warcraft. The World Soul Saga. A story that will play out over the next 3 expansions and will take us on an adventure in World of Warcraft like we've never experienced before.
Aha.
This saga kicks off with the War
Zapravo World of
Within.
Warcraft saga nije
In this first chapter,
Warcraft
our heroes
2.0,
will be
nego su
called on
zapravo
an
3
expedition to the
ekspanzije.
subterranean depths of Azeroth, revealing a new world full of mystery, wonder, and darkness. There we will confront the shadows below and face new challenges on the battlefield as well as in ourselves. So what is next? During this section, I'll share an overview of the story of the War Within, and then next you'll hear from Maria Hamilton, who will speak to zones and cultures, and then wrapping up with Morgan Day, who will talk about dungeons, the raid, and our new systems. Let's dig in.
Hajde.
In our cinematic reveal, did you guys enjoy the cinematic?
Dobro te, fantazija je bio.
Woo. Big shout out to the cinematic team for their work on that. It's just incredible work. We witnessed as Thrall found Anduin Wrynn, who has been wandering alone for the last few years, grappling and lost in his own thoughts and dealing with the experience that he's been through, as many of you may have remembered. Throughout this and our features trailer, we learned two very important developments, starting with these visions. Thrall spoke of a vision calling out from the heart of the world.
On je prvi put da Thrall priča sa Titanom nekim. Tako da definitivno ovo je Titan Azerata, prosto rečeno.
A darkness has been gathering, even as the heroes adventured on the Dragon Isles, and in the War Within, the mysterious harbinger that Ridicron spoke of will reveal themselves. Xal'atath has returned. Freed long ago from the black blade that once bound her, she is now the harbinger of a new era of the Void's dark machinations. And her message is clear. The Black Empire has fallen. The old gods are dead. And their ancient blood runs deep within the cracks of the world. We, the heroes of Azeroth, destroyed them. The forces of the Horde and the Alliance have proven time and again they are among the most powerful armies that have ever stood. The Harbinger has watched this. She is patient. And while the Black Empire failed, Xal'atath now seeks to set in motion the rise of a new dark legacy, one that knows our true strength and will seek to test it against a new threat of terrible power, the Nerubians of Ashkahet. Xal'atath has conscripted the Nerubian queen Ansarek, having offered her people a new future, one in which they will rise from their isolation as a mighty kingdom once again. And here in this sprawling city of Ashkahet, we will not find the undead soldiers of the Lich King that we faced before, but instead a new mighty stronghold of the Nerubians as they once were, deadly survivors of the mythic wars that have played out time and again over thousands of years. In return for their loyalty, Xal'atath has granted the Nerubians the means of a dark evolution, one that will turn the Nerubians into a new kind of ferocious and terrifying soldier that we will clash against time and again in the War Within. Now let's talk about who we'll be adventuring with. How do you like the key art? Several of Azeroth's greatest heroes will rise to the call of the Radiant Song, and many will be faced with their own unique challenges. Anduin, having survived his ordeal with domination, yes, look at the art. Oh, incredible art. Anduin will be grappling with his relationship to the holy light that he no longer feels worthy of, while Thrall is seeking a connection to these visions, spreading across the world and working to find his new place in the Horde. While Magni Bronzebeard, long the Speaker of Azeroth, will confront the heavy weight of that responsibility once and for all. Champion! The Wounds Champion! Yes! But that brings us to, I know you saw this in the features trailer, Alleria Windrunner.
Da, Alleria. Ja vičem Aureo. Alleria Windrunner, sestra Sylvana, da.
Alleria's journey will be central to the events of the themes of the War Within, as she, a Void Hunter, will use all of her prowess to hunt down the Harbinger while being torn between her own nature and the maddening call of the Void to which she is attuned. Along the adventure, she will have a unique rivalry with Xal'atath, whose twists and turns will come to define the nature of this new conflict. Of course, we'll see many more familiar faces on our journey and meet a host of new and interesting characters along the way that Maria is going to tell you more about in just a moment. But finally, this saga is only just beginning. Conceived to be... Yes! Conceived to be an epic worthy of the first 20 years of World of Warcraft, the World Soul Saga aims to redefine the storytelling in our expansion set and strike boldly at the core themes that define Warcraft. The might of heroes, the responsibility of that power, the pursuit of justice. Gotta do my best Mets in there. Justice! And the importance of finding common ground as well as ourselves amidst adversity. Up next, may I introduce Maria Hamilton, who will be sharing more about our zones and cultures in the War Within. Thank you so much.
Dobro. Mislim sad ono, klasika. Evo je ova baka.
Hello, Blizzcon. Wow, I am so
Ovo, brate, kad bi
excited to
promenio
be
glavu,
here
brate,
and
pomislili neki
delighted to represent our
deka.
team and tell you about the places that we will explore and the
Brate,
cultures
ovako
we
nema
will encounter
65-70 godina,
in the
ubije me
War
majke
Within.
mi.
I can't really see all of you out there. I know there's a lot of you though because I can hear you. And I hope to hear lots of oohs and ahs when you see some of this cool art I've got to show you. So let's get started.
Idemo.
Thank you.
Ah!
Thank you. Yep. Thank you.
Nova zona gde se nalazi.
As Taryn mentioned earlier, we'll be called by the Radiant Song, dreamlike visions that come from the heart of the Azeroth. This summons is going to lead us to the subcontinent of Khaz-Algar, a place long forgotten. It's only through recent explorations in Uldaman that we've discovered a Watcher report concerning a contingent of Earthen that was sent to this place long, long ago to investigate a fissure in the sector. What exactly that means, we don't really know, but we can probably speculate. So first, let's talk about the Earthen.
Nova klasa, to jest rasa.
All right, we have met Titan-forged Earthen before, of course, in Ulduar and other places. But this society of Earthen has been isolated within Khaz-Algar for a really long time and have developed their own manners and customs. Now, visually, these Earthen are a bit larger in stature, and they're noticeably blinged out. They've got gems all over them, bedazzled, blinged out, you know, that kind of thing, right? But philosophically, they are guided by the Edicts of the Titans, a set of codified orders, duties, and expectations that provide instructions for the core functions of their society. You know, Titans, order, all that, right?
Brkovi,
But the
brate,
Titans have been absent for
Borac
eons,
Ormuzanski
and
za...
the Earthen are no
Jeste,
longer
brate.
united in their
Ja
adherence
sam se
to
ucrkao kad
these
se vidio.
edicts.
Ne,
They
ono,
now
znaš
exist
kad je
as
nije bio? Mislim da prošlom Blizzconu
groups
nije
that
bio
are
uopšte.
estranged from each other. The
Ali,
Oathsworn,
pazi,
as
dobar
their
je
name
radnik, mislim,
suggests,
ono...
still uphold the edicts faithfully
Ima
and
kefova,
believe
brate.
everyone else is doing it wrong. Their charge is guarding the core way, a Titan passageway that leads right to the core of Azeroth. They're primarily the city dwellers. They live conveniently near the object of their responsibility, that core way. Now, the Unbound, in contrast, have abandoned the edicts, and they are considered scandalously rebellious by the Oathsworn. Their original responsibility was providing the materials to keep the Titan installations supplied, and they're primarily rural. They're living in and around the quarries and the mines where natural resources can be acquired. They rarely interact with the city dwellers. They feel neglected and ignored because they have a different opinion on how they should live.
Delovi gde
Now, the
pričaju
machine speakers have
mnogo
strayed from the
dubinski,
edicts in
klasa, rasa,
practice,
zonica,
but not
tralala.
with respect to their
Mislim, ono, oni
overall
uvodni deo je nama
obligation
bio
to keep the
najbitniji da
Titan
znamo
works
osnovne
functioning.
vesti. Mislim da većina
They've
ljudi
had
ovo manje
extremely
interesuje.
limited contact with the surface dwellers, and they express no little disdain for those who just don't understand the great machines. Their homes are built around vast industrial projects under the surface that allow them to perform their functions in accordance with edicts, more or less. These different perspectives among the Earthen and their variable adherence to the Titan's edicts has weakened the society as originally structured. And that's not good, of course, but a much more serious problem is their steadily dwindling numbers. For reasons that I'm not going to get into here and now, new Earthen can't exist until we help them out by doing some things and unite the Earthen society once more. Happily, as a result of our actions, the Earthen will eventually be unlocked as an allied race. Yeah, like sweet, don't they? Yeah.
Dobro.
These player earthen will replenish the culture's dwindling numbers and may join either the Horde or the Alliance.
Yeah.
It is, of course, player's choice which side you wish to ally with. But as you can see from a small sampling of combinations, there's some fantastic variations and customizations coming for the earthen models, including different gem incrustations, beards for all body types, rocky skin patterns, tones, and more. Now that golden mohawk with the braids and the fringe beard, that's quite the look. But I really like the beardless guy with the bushy blonde eyebrows. He looks so cool. He's just kind of like, yep, what do you want me to do? So anyway, all right, moving on. Another cool culture that players will encounter in the War Within is the Arathi.
Arathi?
Yeah, and you probably have questions, right? So these are descendants of the original Arathorian Empire, and they've arrived relatively recently and through some somewhat mysterious circumstances. And they find themselves trapped here within Khaz-Algar. Mysterious mostly because I can't say anything more about it just yet because of spoilers, but it's not like spooky mysterious, it's the other kind. As a people, the Arathi are worshippers and wielders of holy fire. They are dedicated to bringing hope and light to the darkness. They're tough, resilient people, with every member of the society being an able combatant.
Što kažu,
Some few are
vekove
further
unazad,
blessed with
bukvalno još
paladin-like
izvanijele.
abilities through their devotion to the light. Even their airships are powered by sacred flame. The extent to which they're comfortable in battle is probably a good thing, because they have established a home away from home in an enormous cavern bordered by an endless underground sea, from which terrifying creatures emerge to rampage and create havoc. Not my idea of a cool place to hang out, but they're really, really tough. These watery monstrosities, though, are nothing compared to the threat from below. A constant swarm of Nerubians has been held back so far from invading the Arathi lands. The assault is unrelenting, the threat is dire, and the Arathi can't hold much longer. These bastions of light against the darkness are far from home and limited in number. Sure would be terrible if there was also division within the Arathi ranks. Just saying. That would be pretty rough, what with them being so outnumbered. We could probably help them. All right, speaking of the Nerubians in the War Within, we'll explore their last kingdom deep within Khaz-Algar. These ancient survivors of the Black Empire who rejected their former masters have developed their own culture here in the deep darkness. As Taryn mentioned earlier, Xal'atath has made a bargain with the Nerubian queen Ansarek, who seeks a new future and renewed glory for her people. The Nerubians are extremely capable and devious adversaries who have been honing their skills with their constant assault on the Arathi. But domination hasn't come fast enough for the Queen's case, as the Arathi has managed to hold against this onslaught. So this deal with the Harbinger has included some assistance for her troops. Through some dark alchemical process, Xal'atath has provided the knowledge required to evolve chosen Nerubians into paragons of their race, enhancing their viciousness. And Queen Ansarek has embraced these modifications with enthusiasm and eagerly offered her army to achieve the Harbinger's schemes. It appears to be a win-win situation. But not all Nerubians share their sovereign's enthusiasm for change and her embrace of Xal'atath. Shadowy figures with far too many limbs maneuver against the Harbinger's plans in opposition to the Queen's desire. As you might expect, any foray into this Nerubian kingdom introduces us to a variety of citizens, including some forms we've never encountered before. Here's a layout of some of the Nerubian models that are completed and also some that are in progress,
content,
as well as scale reference for goblins and humans so you can get a sense of size. In addition to the Nerubian citizens, there are also domesticated insects who serve the kingdom as beasts of burden and pets. The team is hard at work building out the full range of carapaces, carapae, I don't know, whichever, skittering legs, grabby arms, piercing spiky bits, and creepy eyes for you to enjoy, I guess. All right, let's talk about our zones. The surface of Khaz-Algar is our first zone, called the Isle of Dorn.
Ovo
This
izgleda,
is
brate,
the
kao na
home of the
Hobiti.
earth and surface dwellers, as well as other native species of
Borko, ima
creatures.
nešto da imam, ja sam samo
The
happy
fertile
zbog karte.
soil, flowering plant life,
Pa
and
bre, imam
generous
mnogo.
waterways
Moram
provide
malo da saberem
nourishment
utiske
for
pa da
animals
snimim
in this
video.
untouched paradise. An important facet of earth and society is cinder brew mead. This volatile substance is manufactured from molten honey produced by enormous fiery bees. Their home groves are a remarkable sight as the hearts of the trees themselves glow with lava-like fluid. Harvesting is always an exciting time as the ferocious creatures are understandably protective of their hives. Now the roosts at Storm Watch are wreathed with lightning and fierce winds. These wild elemental rooks may choose to serve a member of the Oathsworn, who if so blessed becomes a Storm Rider, one of the guardian warriors of the earthen people. The Unbound deal with hostile creatures from time to time, but for their most part, the existence is fairly relatively peaceful. Their comfortable homes are often situated near the places where they once labored as adherents to the edicts. Those sites are now in disrepair, and in some cases, the lair of other creatures. Of course, the Isle of Dorn boasts a great walled city where the Oathsworn live and serve the edicts of the Titans. The city of Dornagal is the location of many important civic buildings, markets, traders, and crafters. And it's here that a traveler will find the expected amenities of a capital city, as well as the Titan Causeway, the defense of which is the Oathsworn's primary charge. Now, beneath the surface of the Isle of Dorn lies our second zone, the Ringing Deeps. As the name suggests, it is here that the Earthen are engaged in their work in accordance with the edicts. In these industrial areas of this cavernous space are huge, complicated machines, lava-heated foundries and forges, and waterworks, both to cool and to power huge machinery. Maintaining these Titan mechanisms and keeping everything running is both the responsibility and the passion of the machinery. The Earth has shifted too in places, revealing openings to the sky above to the Isle of Dorn. These cenotes bring light and water into areas once shrouded in darkness. Abundant greenery, flowers, and creatures that do not typically dwell in caverns may be found in these idyllic spots. It was really important to us as developers that we delivered the fantasy of the hard-working industry, but still had some break-up areas of natural beauty that don't feel like dark and strange levels. Now, as the machine speaker population has dropped, they've had increasing difficulties with cobalt incursions, and indeed the kobolds have taken over the mines, the work areas, they've even built a city of their own. Unexpectedly, the kobolds are actually becoming a force to be reckoned with under the aggressive actions of their leader, the Candle King. You knew it had to be a candle. No take candle. No take candle. With the passage of time, the Earthen have diminished both in number and in the knowledge required to perform the various routines to tune and repair the processes. The old ways have been forgotten, and new creative methods must be employed if the edicts are to be obeyed. So they're kind of making it up as they go along. From the Ringing Deeps, we descend further into Khazalgar to reach Hollowfall, a vast hollow area in the earth, bordered by an endless underground sea. This tenuous foothold under the bright light of an enormous crystal has allowed the Arathi to survive, using their airships to travel to high plateaus and establish docks, light towers, villages, and even a priory. From their capital of Merildar, these trapped people strive to keep hope alive and spread the light, while engaged in a near constant battle with the Nerubians at their borders. The open spaces, the bright light, and the greenery are intended to feel as though we're on the surface, somehow, rather than in this sort of strange hollow within Azeroth. The crystal provides brilliant light, warmth, and growth for vegetation. You may notice that all the blooming plants have opened their blossoms toward the light and seem to be reaching in that direction whenever they're in Hollowfall. Unfortunately, the Crystal Sun has been changing in recent years. Where once the light was steady and reliable, it now fades without warning, plunging the Arathi into darkness, save where they have built light towers and maintain their holy flame beacons. In the absence of this light, the dangerous Kobis and other fierce creatures emerge from the sea to rampage. As the Arathi are barely holding back the Nerubians, these unpredictable episodes are incredibly demoralizing and deadly. Happily, the light has always returned to the crystal, so far. And at the deepest descent in the war within, we reach the zone of Aj-Kahet. That almost rhymes. Anyway, the Nerubian city of Threads has been built on the ruins of itself, over and over and over again. As areas decay and crumble, a new district is built upon its ruins, and as a result, the city climbs ever higher. Those Nerubians favored by the queen, or possessing enormous wealth, or both, command the greatest views and live in the highest places over these swarming masses of the many districts. The Burrows is the home of the scavengers, the forgotten, deep in the decay and the filth. The Umbral Bazaar is a trading hub, fine silks, fascinating alchemical discoveries, and other exotic and hard-to-find goods. The Stains are the home of the lore keepers and scholars who toil to maintain the history of their people and research myths and legends of Azeroth. There are many other districts and less than savory neighborhoods, both well-known and secret, that the careful adventurer could discover, should they risk life and limb to do so. But the key to such exploration is fitting in among the Nerubians and being accepted, an enterprise best accomplished through skill in the use of pheromones and considerable bravery. The zone of Aj-Kahet features areas of spectacular inhabited by these creatures that have found a way to live among the Nerubians without being deemed a threat, found to be particularly tasty to consume, or just too much fun to torment. The mobilization of forces to assault the Arathi while also providing military might to achieve Xal'atath's schemes has stirred up all sorts of inhabitants of the darkness. And deep within the city itself, the Nerubians are gathering an odd substance.
Nerubians, to je sad vraća se ono iz vrata do Lich Kinga, jer smo ih tu najviše setrovi. Njihovu, ono da kažem, visoku kraljicu i...
And now I'd like to talk a little bit about our zone flow. As I mentioned... Awesome, huh?
Moći ćemo da letimo sa mountovima ovako brzo kao sa zmajevima.
We travel from the Isle of Dorn into the Ringing Deeps, into Hollowfall, and then into Aj-Kahet. In the War Within, all of our zones are connected all together using the airlock technology that we developed for Zerlet Cavern, allowing for this seamless descent from the Isle of Dorn all the way to Aj-Kahet. That was video I just captured last week of the transition between the Ringing Deeps and Hollowfall. As you can see,
brate, stvarno kao muški izgleda, da, brate, neki ukaže neko jebote.
There is some seriously amazing swoopy goodness to be had moving across these zones and through these
iz ovoga priloženog definitivno, sviđa se ljudima. To je ukrađen iz Guild Wars 2.
Tight area and into just a huge drop like that. It's so exhilarating. Now this blobby map that I've got up here was an early attempt during development of our zone flow to try to figure out how we would stack these zones together and achieve the relationship between their geography and geometry that made sense and felt great to traverse. We ended up with something slightly different than this, but this is pretty representative to explain what the world builders were thinking about when they planned these spaces out. It was really important to our design that while 3 of the 4 zones are technically underground, they didn't feel that way, and that they were distinctly different from one another. We pursued that goal by introducing the natural cenotes in the Ringing Deeps and leaning into the fantasy of the classic underground foundry and industrial workspaces. So even in the zone that felt the tightest, there's places that look as though they're actually on the surface. And within Hollowfall, we created a massive hollow space in a cavern so vast it feels like an exterior, with a huge artificial sun in the form of a gigantic crystal. And in Aj-Kahet, we leaned hard into traditional Nerubian architecture with hanging nests and huge palaces built all over a decaying city that just falls away into the depths. And that is the last bit of eye candy I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed this peek at what we've got in development.
To je to? Pa dobro. Okej. Šta će sad da ne javi?
So now it's time for me to introduce you to Morgan Day, who's going to give you lots of information about dungeons, raids, and
To.
systems. Enjoy. Thanks very
O,
much.
sistemi,
Bye.
brate, to sam te da čujem. Daj Bože da se prikaže, brate, rajd od 10 ljudi koji ima samo 2 bossa. Nisam ovo uvijek do sad viđao.
Hello, BlizzCon! My name is Morgan Day, and I'm here to talk to you about some of the upcoming content, features, and systems
Ajde, ljubite,
in
brate,
the War
pa ćete
Within.
radimo jedan
I'm sure
selfie.
I'll also make some funny faces that I'll regret later in thumbnails, but whatever. First up, let's talk about dungeons. There will be 8 new dungeons coming in the War Within, 4 during level up, 1 in each of the 4 zones that Maria just walked us through, as well as 4 at max
Dobro,
level.
okej, novi dungeoni ko novi dungeon, osam novih dungeona, to je neki optimum, minimum koji oni idu.
Dungeon where you'll meet that Candle King, where there's like a light mechanic that takes place. You have to kind of keep it going to light your way. There's a dragon riding dungeon, of course, but also one of my favorites is the Cinderbrew Meadery that Maria just talked us through. So this is a dungeon that takes place on our first zone, the Isle of Dorn, which is where you'll experience, all of our earthen buddies.
Što mu dobro
And this
majice
is the place
jebote.
where they make that Cinderbrew mead that she was
Kaže
talking
go,
about.
go.
They take in all that honey that they gather from throughout the zone to make the mead, to do all kinds of fun and/or nefarious things with. Although I do have to say, I feel like they're a little bit behind the times. I feel like all the kids are drinking that, hard seltzer or something these days, but whatever. They're old school, I get it.
Evo, pao mu kosa ko
Next
meni.
up, our raid, the Nerubar Palace. So this is an 8-boss raid that will take place in the zone of Aj-Kahet. And this is really the culmination of all of those machinations we keep hearing about that we see play out
Kako da repuje,
between
brate.
the Nerubian Empire, their queen, and her collaboration with Xalatath. So for this next one, we don't normally show things this early, but I thought it'd be cool to share. On the left there, you can kind of see the top-down view of the raid, and on the right, it's more of like a side cutout. So we like to work on all of our dungeons and raids when they still look like this, as it's much easier to iterate while we're in 2D than it is
Dobro,
to
nije
change
loše.
the zones around once we're
Kako
in the
se
game
radi
and it's all
projekat?
locked down.
Lepo, ovo nisam
So
nikad
to
vidio.
step us through the raid really quickly, after barging through the front door, you'll very quickly fall and/or get knocked into one of those giant pits of that black blood of the old god that you'll hear much more
Ti
about. in
bukvalno
Aj-Kahet.
ulaziš
And then you'll
ovdje,
battle your
padaš
way
dole,
through the
penješ se
harvest
gore, čim
pits,
se popneš
and
pa
then
gore,
finally
pa ovo, pa
traverse
se
your
onda
way back
vraćaš
up
pa skapa
through
tu.
the
Dobro,
stalactite
lepo,
wing, which is not a final name, I promise, until you finally fight your way into the Queen's inner sanctum, where you'll come face to face with her as the end boss. So as you can see, this will kind of feel like a winged raid in terms of the vibes, but in terms of the player experience, it'll actually be quite a bit more linear than what you might be used to for a raid with some winged vibes. So something that I also think is fun to talk about really quick is with all of our dungeons and raids, we like to try to explore like what is the thing that's going to make this space feel really unique, that's going to make it stand out from all the other times that we've built these dungeons and raids. And with this space, we really thought that, given that we have the Nerubian to play with, they've got all these amazing like webs and silken threads that you can kind of traverse the zone through. We thought it'd be really fun to explore verticality as a major element to this raid. So I think that'll be really fun to see what the team comes up with for that. Next up, let's talk about systems. So I want to walk you through some of our features and systems at a really high level, but first I want to talk about some of the philosophies that are really guiding us to add these into the War Within. So first and foremost, we really want to continue to extend the philosophies of Dragonflight into the War Within. And really, when we talk about that, there's 3 main pillars that I want to touch on. First, we really want to make sure that we're focusing on evergreen features. We want to make sure that we're making World of Warcraft better forever and not focusing on things that we know we're going to have to leave behind as we move into future expansions. Next, we want to make sure that there's something for everyone. So whether you're a hardcore raider, a PvPer, a collector, or apparently like Holly, you just love to play tons of alts and run around the world exploring things, we want to make sure that there's something in War Within that you can really geek out over and that resonates with you. And finally, we want to make sure that we're continuing to build on our philosophy and build on our systems and content with people who play multiple characters in mind. We want to make sure...
Continue focus on respecting player.
We want to make sure that we're building all of our systems to really respect the time of the player behind the keyboard and not focusing so much on the accomplishments of that individual character.
No dobro, to je ono sad shareovanje akaunta.
So let's talk about delves. Delves are a new feature that will be integrated into the outdoor world experience, where the fantasy of these is actually that you'll be joining the Dragon Scale expedition in their search for lost treasures all across Kazalgar. So delves are an evergreen feature that is really integrated into that outdoor world experience. We want delves to be a new pillar of endgame content for those outdoor world explorers. We really view this as something like when we added world quests back in Legion, where they are going to be really integrated and transformative into that outdoor world, especially that endgame loop. So one of the main reasons I'm stoked about delves is that these will provide
to su sad one gluposti, sranja, kao uradi to i to, dobit ćeš to, popuni to i to da bi dobio to, brate, ovo su dodaci u igrici.
Like mounts, achievements, titles, but we'll also be adding a outdoor row to the Great Vault with War Within. So that all of you outdoor world explorers will be able to share in the joy of, rushing to the Great Vault every week to collect your loot. And there will also be 13 unique delves that we'll be launching War Within with. And delves will scale from 1 to 5 players and be role agnostic. So that means if you want to play a delve solo, that's totally cool. If you want to go with you and your partner, that works as well. Or you can bring your whole dungeon group in, and the delve will scale based on your group size and your roles.
Što se ljudi raduju, brate, ovom?
And I would be remiss if I didn't mention one of my favorite features of delves, which I think Maria alluded to earlier, which is that there will be an NPC companion joining you on all of your adventures. So for season 1, that'll be Bran Bronzebeard, as you can see.
On će vjerojatno da ti vodi u World of Warcraft.
And Bran will be tagging along with you on all of your delve adventures and will totally never, not even once, aggro a pack of monsters that you didn't want him to. And I don't have my fingers crossed behind my back right now. So Bran will have a customizable talents and mechanics and abilities that you'll be able to kind of load out to suit your playstyle and needs. So, maybe you need a little bit of extra healing. Well, you can load Bran out to provide that for you. And finally, you wouldn't be exploring with the Dragon Scale expedition if at the end of every delve there wasn't this massive treasure trove that we need Bran to open for us, which hopefully brought a couple of keys to open some of the chests in there. But before Bran can open that vault for you, you'll need to maybe defeat a boss, maybe you'll solve a couple puzzles, something like that, and then Bran will be able to open that vault door for you.
Uvijek, brate, a dobro, ne može da bude reprezentativno.
Let's talk about warbands. It's happening!
Warbands?
So warbands are a system that we're introducing that will really be the representation of all of your characters across your Battle.net account.
No.
Warbands are an opportunity for us to create a platform where you can share your achievements, resources, and all that other good stuff across all of those characters. So the goal of this system is really to be that representation of the philosophy shift that I mentioned earlier about really respecting the time of the player behind the keyboards and not those individual characters. There's actually a ton of additions and modifications. We've talked about a few here. There's no singular UI screen that says warbands. It's more of all these modifications and updates and features are kind of wearing a big coat that says warbands on the back of it. It's how I kind of keep it straight in my head. But just to talk about a couple of those cool features, we'll actually be revisiting the transmog rules of how you acquire those appearances in the War Within. So for all of you who have So that means all of you who have probably had to run 4 characters through all of those legacy instances just to make sure you're collecting all the appearances, that won't be the case anymore in War Within. You'll just be able to run it with 1 character.
Dobro, odlično. To je okej.
And oh yeah, Holly mentioned this already, but this is obviously one that people are looking forward to. All of our reputations as well as renown in the War Within will be shared across your entire account.
Dobro, to su rekli na početku.
Last but not least, let's talk about hero talents. So here's a quick mock-up of what the UI will look like that I think really helps explain how these integrate into our current talent trees. But really quick, let's take a look at how this will work. So there will be 3 new hero talent trees per class, and 2 will be available per specialization that you can freely choose and swap between. And also, this is another evergreen feature. This is a system that we think is going to provide a new vector of choice and customization for you in all of your classes, as well as create opportunities for us to really dig into some of those core class fantasies that are, so amazing. So hero talents will introduce these new, small, self-contained talent trees like you just saw in the UI.
Kad kažeš, brate, ovaj ima ovo, aha, pa ti si mogu da uzmeš to i to, daju ti kao izbor, a to je znači samo izgovor, po meni.
And now in the War Within, there'll be a third type called hero talent points. So let's look at a quick example, which hopefully explains it a little bit more. This is a warrior, as you can see. These are the 3 hero talent trees that they'll have available: Mountain Thane, Colossus, and Slayer.
Okay, to je samo moje mišljenje.
And as you can see in the top left, we have Protection, who will be able to choose between Mountain Thane and Colossus. Up on the right, you see Fury. Yep, that's right. Mountain Thane and Slayer are their options, and down at the bottom, Colossus and Slayer are their options. So this is how the majority of our classes are going to look in the War Within. The exception, of course, being Druids and Demon Hunters, who are a bit special, so theirs will look a little different. So let's take a look at how you'll unlock the system, as well as how it'll feel playing through as you're leveling through the War Within. So the system will automatically unlock at level 71, and it'll just kind of appear in your UI. You'll earn 1 talent point per level as you level from 71 to 80.
Okay.
And there are 10 talent points in total, with several choice nodes along the way. So I like to think of this as being similar to like the Legion artifact, where as you were leveling and progressing, you were making some choices along the way, but ultimately you're going to unlock the whole tree.
Tokom trajanja Shadowlands ekspanzije je out, znači totalno je bio. Ti imaš Covenant, imaš njegove, ne znam, ajde kažem, spellove, talente. Čekaj, ovo sam propustio sad.
So, this should be very analogous to your current talent trees and will follow all the same rules that you used to there.
Imaš Covenant i klasu sa tim talentima i sad izabrao si, oni su dobri. Ako hoćeš da promeniš talente, mora da promeniš i Covenant, jer taj Covenant ne odgovara više tim talentima i onda mora da levuješ ponovo te Covenant ako si ti jednom već izlevovao. Kao u fazonu, ovo će ti malo brže, ali to je malo brže postavljeno tek na kraju ekspanzije. Brate, to se zove izgovor, i izbor može da se kaže, a izgovor ti je da te tera to da radiš ponovno, pa ti imaš, brate, evo ti u fazonu, možeš da radiš, uzmi radi.
Our effects artists will be happy. So that about wraps us up for our What's Next panel.
Pa dobro. Biće sviranje onih stvari i ovdje izgleda.
We hope you really liked what you saw here, and if you'd like to know more, please join us tomorrow at the deep dive panel at noon, where Ian will walk you through some of what you saw today in more detail. Woo, Ian! As well as a bunch of other cool new stuff in the War Within. So thank you all so much. I hope you have a great BlizzCon.
Pazi ovako. Pa da, mi ne znamo kako će biti. To da, ne znamo, ali iz onoga što znamo i upoređujemo, dobijamo taj krajnji rezultat. A ja govorim da je balans ako nema grind. Naravno, ako mi samo da to imamo, onda dobro. A ako mi daje da završavam neke stvari uz to, da bi ja to... Kraj, brate, nema. A izgovor je, ako moraš da se zajebavaš, da. Ako moraš da tražiš ovo, da ovo... Mislim, tipa, imaš renown, 2 renouna, sa taj renownom tvoj, recimo, ne znam, Fury Warrior je perfektan, ali ako uzmeš Arms Warriora, taj renovi nije dobar za njega, moraš drugi. Pa onda ovaj pomeriš, jako je max level, ovaj drugi ćeš da izlevaš malo brže nego ovaj prvi, ali opet mora da se zajebavaš da ga levaš. Pa da juriš, pa da se ne jure, pa i onda kad dobiješ sve to, mislim, smaraj, to ću da ti kažem. Drugari, sigurno će biti malo grind jer oni hoće da ti duži igricu igraš. Jebi ga, MMORPG. Drugari, to bi bilo sve što se tiče današnjeg streama i današnjeg Blizzcona. Sutra neću da palim jer ovo su najglavnije stvari koje smo mi trebali da čujemo. Hvala svima što su bili ovde, hvala Marincu za support večeras. Ovaj stream će biti okačen na YouTube ukoliko ga neko nije gledao, tako da ono, drugari, bilo je super, relativno sam zadovoljan, ne mogu da kažem, ovo je jedan od najboljih Blizzcona koje sam ja ikada video, pogledao sam zadnjih 10-ak otprilike. Šta osim još da kažem, hvala svima što ste bili ovde, hvala što ste deo community OUTLANDERA, budite redovno na Twitchu, streamovaću nedeljno, non stop, kad god budem imao vremena. I hvala što ste bili ovdje. Ja vas sada pozdravljam, želim vam prijatnu noć i prijatan vikend, pa se uskoro vidimo sa novim videoklipovima na temu ukratko šta možemo da očekujemo, sažeto i neke moje, da kažem, planove za dalje igranje. Hvala svima što ste bili ovdje. OUTLANDER se odjavljuje. Ćao drugari!